You see all these headlines flying around: an ultimatum in the Middle East, Ukraine's President Zelenskyy making a surprise trip to Saudi Arabia, and suddenly gas prices are jumping all over the world. You might think these are all separate stories, but they're not. They are all pieces of one single massive and incredibly explosive story that's playing out right now. And it all kicks off with a deadline. Right. Let's get straight into it. It all starts with this one sentence from Donald Trump, putting the entire region on a 10-day countdown. It is a massive declaration, and honestly, it is everyone just holding their breath, wondering what's going to happen when that clock finally hits zero. But here's the thing you have to understand. This isn't the first deadline. Not by a long shot. The clock has been ticking for a while now, but it keeps getting reset. And there's a crucial reason why. To really get what's going on, you have to look at how we even got to these 10 days. So at first, it was just 48 hours. Boom, that was it. Then Egyptian intelligence managed to open a line of communication with Iran's Revolutionary Guard, and suddenly the deadline gets pushed by 5 days. And now here we are with another 10. Now, the official story for this latest extension was a so-called gift from Iran for letting some oil tankers pass. But let's be real, that's just a cover. The real reason for all these delays is to buy time. Time for a huge military buildup that's happening right now. So, while this clock is ticking, you'd think there'd be frantic negotiations, right? Well, they've completely stalled. The U.S. laid out 15 conditions, basically demanding Iran dismantle its entire nuclear and missile program and cut ties with allies like Hezbollah. Iran's response? They flat out rejected all of it and came back with 5 demands of their own, including keeping their missiles and getting formal control over the Strait of Hormuz. I mean, as you can see, these two sides are miles apart. The gap is just enormous, which makes a peaceful deal look pretty much impossible. Okay, so if the talks are dead end, why keep pushing back the deadline? If you're not talking, what's the holdup? Well, the delay isn't about diplomacy. It's about logistics. It's about getting all the heavy-duty military pieces onto the board for a potential ground invasion. This extra time is being used to put together a seriously formidable force. We're talking about the USS Tripoli, which is basically a floating military base carrying 2,200 troops. It's moving into position, and it's being joined by 2 more landing ships with another 4,500 troops. And here's the kicker. Elements of the elite 82nd and 101st Airborne Divisions, the Screaming Eagles, are on their way. These are the guys you call for rapid invasions. So Trump isn't just waiting around, he's building an invasion force. And you can bet Iran knows exactly what's happening. And while all those forces are getting into place, the conflict isn't waiting for some official start date. It is already escalating, and it's escalating dramatically across multiple fronts. The numbers alone tell you that this war is already happening. 100. That's the number of U.S. airstrikes that have already hit targets backed by Iran. 3,000. That is the staggering number of strikes that Israel has already carried out. And in just one recent response, Hezbollah launched 100 rockets in a single barrage. That gives you an idea of the kind of firepower we're dealing with. And these are not random attacks. They are highly strategic. For example, a recent Iranian missile strike reportedly hit the ICL chemical factory. Now, this factory is right near Israel's Dimona nuclear site, and more importantly, it's where they make white phosphorus for the military. With production now shut down, Israel's facing a serious shortage of a key munition, especially for its operations up in Lebanon. The attacks are also getting much, much smarter. Iran and Hezbollah are now coordinating their strikes. It's like a strategic play. Iran launches its big, long-range missiles. And then, right as they're about to enter Israeli airspace, Hezbollah unleashes a massive wave of its own rockets. The goal is simple and deadly: to totally overwhelm Israel's Iron Dome air defense system. They want to fire so much at it at once that some missiles are guaranteed to get through. And as the military action heats up, so does the language. An official from Iran's Revolutionary Guard made a very direct, very public threat. He said if American forces try to land on Iranian soil, specifically their critical oil terminal on Karg Island, then Iran will immediately respond by invading and occupying Bahrain. But this war isn't just about missiles and troop movements. There's a whole other front that has opened up, a second battlefield in the world of high-stakes diplomacy and global finance. And it's creating some alliances you would never expect. And this is where the story takes a really fascinating twist. President Zelenskyy of Ukraine showing up in Saudi Arabia. What on earth is that about? Well, it wasn't just a friendly visit. It signals a brand new, very unexpected alliance that's forming, all because of a shared threat.
Zelenskyy is in the Gulf to sell his military expertise. He's offering them Ukrainian interceptor drones, know-how on using Patriot missile systems, and most importantly, tactics that have been proven in battle against the very same Iranian-made drones that Russia is using against his own country. This whole visit sends a powerful message directly to Moscow. Hey, the more you help Iran, the closer you push the Gulf states to our side. And this new partnership comes right as the drone war itself is changing. The Gulf states figured out pretty quickly that using a multi-million-dollar Patriot missile to shoot down a $20,000 drone just wasn't sustainable. It's like using a sledgehammer to kill a fly. So now they've switched to a much cheaper, much more effective method, just using rapid-fire cannons. And these new tactics are working so well that Iran is now running to Russia, asking for their more advanced Guran-2 drones that have better tech to avoid getting jammed and shot down. But for every new alliance being formed, the shockwaves from this conflict are absolutely battering other economies in the region, and Egypt is probably the clearest example of this financial fallout. It's pretty simple. Regional instability scares investors. So we're seeing a massive flood of foreign money leaving the area. That has caused the Egyptian pound to absolutely plummet against the dollar. In response, Egyptian banks are being forced to slam the brakes on financing for essential imports, which is creating all kinds of shortages and a deep, growing economic crisis. It's a powerful reminder that the damage from this war isn't just happening on the battlefield. And those economic consequences aren't staying in the region. They're now rippling out across the entire globe, and they're hitting all of us right where it hurts, at the gas pump. This conflict, especially the threat to oil shipping, has sent prices absolutely soaring. We're now at a staggering $108 a barrel. I mean, that is a huge jump from where we were just a short time ago, and the global market is bracing for it to go even higher. And this isn't just an abstract number. It's causing very real energy crises. In the Philippines, they just had to declare a national holiday because they literally don't have enough fuel. In France, things are so tight they've had to authorize the sale of lower quality fuel just to keep things moving. And all the while, Russia is benefiting massively from every single dollar the price of oil goes up. So, with the entire region on a knife's edge and the global economy feeling all this pressure, we are left looking at two drastically different and frankly equally dangerous futures. And here's the tough part. Neither path leads anywhere easy. If this whole thing ends with a deal that favors Iran, sanctions get lifted, their allies get stronger, and Iran emerges way more powerful and aggressive than it was before. But if it ends with a military strike that breaks the regime, the outcome could be even worse. We could be looking at a full-blown civil war, a massive refugee crisis pouring into neighboring countries, and a giant power vacuum that extremist groups would rush to fill. So really, the choice seems to be between a powerful, hostile Iran and a chaotic, fractured one. As that 10-day clock keeps ticking down, it leaves all of us with the ultimate question. Is there any room left for a diplomatic solution? Or is the world just counting down the seconds to a much, much wider war?